Um, I want to talk about the article that you wrote for Nature News, I believe, um, calling for science journalism in Africa. Africa needs to invest in science communication. Here's how, I believe, was the title. What was your motivation for writing that? What do you see on the ground in Africa that you think needs to be changed?
I think we are doing great science, and no one is saying what we are doing. you know, People don't know the kind of work that comes out of Africa. Most times, some people know. To be fair enough, some people know, but some people, there's also a big population that doesn't know what we do in Africa, the science we do. I mean, we have contributed to so many interventions that are used globally. For example, the HPV vaccination. It's a vaccine that is given against human papillomavirus, and it's given to teenagers. So they used to give 3 doses, and we did study here that contributed to showing that one or two doses is enough. And that has changed the whole intervention, because now the young girls and women don't have to go to the hospital 3 times. Just with one shot or
Mm-hmm.
2 shots, you're good to go. So there's a lot of science that happens here, but it never gets to see the light of. Okay, it's published and in journals, and journals have their own audience,
Right.
but other people don't get to see it. And science journalism offers this platform. Imagine if our studies are covered in these big magazines, or that have global distribution, then people start to change the notion. And then who is telling our stories? Why are we not the ones telling our story? As long as someone else is telling a story from somewhere in the computer with this imagination of how we are doing the work we are doing here, what kind of story are they going to say? So we need to be the ones saying our story, and that matters, because it shapes the perceptions. And sometimes you go in meetings, and people are freaking out. They don't even know whether you'll be able to do a presentation, because they can't imagine, like, you're fresh from Africa and you have this global conference, and you're presenting. People are nervous that you're presenting, because they're so
Mm.
scared you're gonna make mistakes, and then they're like, oh my god, that's good work. Like, they're surprised that you're doing that good work. That's the kind of narrative that we really need to shift and change. And it takes a story at a time to change that kind of thinking. I think
Mm-hmm.
we've not had the global platform to say our story. And I think opportunities like publishing in Nature and all those provide us the global platform. But then that's why we need to say the science stories. But the reason why I did the publication is just putting a case to all these developed countries are way ahead of us, because they are doing their science communication in this way. For us, as long as we are not doing our science communication, no one is going to know. Our governments are not going to know the value of investing in science if they don't see what the science is doing to the people.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So you're saying, I mean, I imagine that there's multiple audiences that you would say that you need to reach, but first and foremost, it's if you're not telling your story, who's going to hear it? And then again, these notions that we talked about at the beginning, this sort of, well, the scientists from Africa, that it's not, the work isn't as good, or they don't know, this kind of, that stereotype will persist because nobody knows all the great stuff that you're doing,
Yeah.
right? But is there an internal audience as well? Like, science communication needs to get better for the people living in Africa
Oh yeah,
themselves.
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, in the absence of that, we have misinformation and disinformation. Well, I mean, if a conspiracy theory now with social media, they say it's a global village. Misinformation or anything circulating in America, it just takes a few days and it's in Kenya. So we need to provide, even with our population, we need to provide them accurate scientific information. They need to know that, oh, if I have this info, this is, if I want to find out about this, this is the reliable source of information to go, or this is the kind of work that is happening in our country. Or they can be able to even know, like, oh, this is not true information, this is actually fake. They should be able to know, okay, where is the source of true information, factual, accurate information. Even that is important as well. And as well, for them to understand the kind of research that is happening in their country, and sort of drive that goodwill that we need to keep doing the science that we are doing. So I think it's both ways. We need our people to understand what we do, but we also need the global audience to appreciate that we're also doing competitive science like anyone else.